Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? This is the DJQuam podcast, and I have a very special guest today. We have professional MMA fighter, Mr. Justin Willis. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. How you doing, man?
First of all, I'm very thankful. We are here at the American Kickboxing Academy in San Jose. This is my first MMA interview, and I'm a big fan of MMA. For people that don't know what that is mixed martial arts. It's groundbreaking. You put in you can put in basically all the martial arts in it, as far as, striking, kickboxing, wrestling, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and basically it's the closest thing to a true fight on a professional scene.
Modern day gladiators, man.
Shout out to Spartacus. We love the show. All right. Justin, say Mr. Willis. Mr. Willis, a good friend of mine. Let's talk about, where are you from?
From East Palo Alto, California.
East Palo Alto, California. All right. How was it growing up in the Bay Area?
Let's talk about East Palo Alto first. It was,
Yeah.
it was interesting at that time growing up in East Palo Alto. Man.
Right.
You really had to be, strong-willed to really survive.
Right.
I did what I had to do.
Hey, I respect it. Definitely. We both went to San Jose State, peers over there. Now, you know what I'm saying, you played D1 football, San Jose State. Shout out to the Spartans.
Yes, sir.
How did that transition to mixed martial arts?
Playing football, you really get a really good athletic base, when it comes to the strength, explosion, mental fortitude, you do create that base. A lot of people don't really come from football to fighting, but, I was a fighter before football.
Oh,
Been a fighter my whole life.
Been fighting your whole life, like many. Okay, so I definitely feel it. So what inspired the transition to MMA?
The challenge. So I always want to challenge myself to really, how do I say this in the right way? To challenge myself to do the things that, a lot of people don't believe that they can accomplish. It's really gratifying to go in there and grab by the horns and take over, you know what I mean? So it was a very hard process, just getting to where I am today, and where I'll get tomorrow, it's going to be even harder.
Man,
it's one of those things where just learn.
Oh,
steps.
Hey, definitely. From watching the sport, for people who don't know, you have the UFC Ultimate Fighting Championship. You have Bellator. You have World Series of Fighting. There are many other promotions that have gone. That go on all over the world. I like to talk about MMA as being, fighting in general is just a holy grail. You don't need a language, your fist, your feet, your mind. That is it. You go up to a guy, if you guys have a dispute,
handle it real quick.
You can handle it real quick as far as that goes. So let's talk about the different martial arts. So, general public, we could talk about, we have, boxing, going from Europe to America. Everybody's familiar with boxing.
Yes,
Manny Pacquiao, Mayweather have the fight coming up, boxing. Then you have kickboxing, Muay Thai, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. That's more the groundwork. How would you define your martial arts, as far as when you go into the ring, the octagon, the cage? Just give us a little something. How would you?
I call it the big pretty style.
The big pretty style,
You know what I mean? So, I go in there, how my base in general is more of wrestling and boxing, So I go in there, I try to, dictate the pace and dictate the outcome of the fight by dictating my pace.
Right.
But it's my own style, The things I learned, the beauty about being at the American Kickboxing Academy is we get the full gamut, world-class level.
Man,
you get what I'm saying? So we get the, not just the best fighters, but we also get the best coaches. So they're able to, as long as you're willing and able to be a piece of clay, they'll mold you.
Hey, let's get it. I ain't no punk, but I know MMA fighter though. So once again, I'm humbled to be in this building. Once again, special shout out to American Kickboxing Academy,
yes,
and let's talk about that. There, when MMA started in the last, MMA got on the major scene in the last, 5-7 years. It's really been in the mainstream and is just going above and beyond. And I've been seeing a lot of gyms pop up, just in there in the Bay Area. There are a lot of great training camps you know, in the nation. What brought you to AKA?
The competition. You know, it's just, you know, when you get to go against the world champion, you know, every single day you get to learn, you get to bleed, you get to sweat, you get to train, you get to learn the recipe, right?
Right.
The thing about a recipe is, you know, when you get a recipe, it's up to you to add those extra seasonings to make it so you like the way it tastes.
Man.
So, you know, I learned, you know, a lot from these guys, you know, Daniel Cormier, Luke Rockhold, Josh Thompson, Josh Koscheck, you know, the list goes on and on. It's a, you know, AKA, you know, it's a blessing because it's a who's MMA here. You know?
And you know what? I'm just lucky enough to, you know, that we went to the same school, we're friends, and you know, definitely I'm an upcoming DJ, holding my own. I've been grinding, and I remember, you know, a couple years back we had that talk, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm getting into MMA." I'm like, you know, I know a thing or two about MMA, so I'm like, okay, you know, I'm like, all right, that was interesting.
Yeah.
The only thing is that the one thing that's upsetting me is that there are not a lot of MMA fights in the Bay Area. You know, I've been looking on the, you know, they have a couple promotions out here, but I'm happy, and I thank the Lord that, you know, I have a friend, you know, you might connect right now, you know, in MMA. This is my first MMA interview. Yeah. I'm definitely supporting it. So let's talk about this. I'm a big MMA fan since I came back from Africa.
Shout out to my Africans.
Shout out to the African people. You know, coming back from Africa, you know, like many families, we had the black box. I'm not going to, you know, say what that's about, but no pun intended, but I was able to watch a lot of MMA, a lot of UFC fights. Yeah. And so I was able to see, you know, a Ken Shamrock, a Chuck Liddell, a Tito Ortiz. And, you know, little did I know, I'm already like, man, they going in. Exactly. So when, you know, just talking about as far as the UFC or Bellator, when they got the Spike TV deal or they're on Fox and, you know, they're introducing this to people, I'm just looking at it like, oh, I know these people. Like, this is, you know, this is second nature to me.
Exactly.
So, just being here in AK, you guys have produced, you know, world champions and as far as, you know, UFC, Strikeforce, you know, top 10 contenders. That's very important, the top 10 scene.
Exactly.
And the one thing I would love to say I love about MMA is that, first of all, it's not like an NFL or NBA or MLB. They do by, you know, statistics and rankings. The number one will face this person and this will equal the true champion. MMA, everybody has a chance any night. And, you know, they do these top things, but doesn't mean the number one is always going to face the number two. Exactly. You know, because the number two could have beat the number three. The number three could have, you know, lost somebody outside of the top 10 of the fighters in that weight division.
Yeah.
So it's anything can happen.
Man, in this sport, man, it's all about the preparation process. It's all about and it's not just physical. You know, this is one of those sports where, you know, even, you know, go back to the days of the gladiator, you know, it's not easy to prepare yourself mentally to go out there to really, you know, get paid, but at the same time in front of millions of people screaming and yelling and, you know, people, you know, across the airwaves to really go out there and put your craft on the line. Right? And really come to terms with that fact that, you know, tonight might not be my night.
Right.
So the preparation process mentally and physically is really important. And I feel like, you know, a lot of fighters, you know, I don't, you know, because my whole thing is straight up, I think there's not a lot of real fighters out there. You know, I think that's just a true statement, you know, because a real fighter will fight anybody any night.
Got you.
You know, there is, you know, such thing as making business moves when it comes to picking who you're going to fight.
Got to find the balance, right?
But at the same time, man, this is a business, you know, so you really got to go out there, you know, when it comes to your craft, really prepare to face anybody.
I mean, once again, I'm humbled. I'm just, you know, this is fighting. This is as real as it gets. So let's talk about the preparation. You're talking about the preparation, nutrition. What is your weight division as far as in the MMA?
You know, I'm the cream of the crop, heavyweights, baby.
Cream of the crop. Man, definitely. That's what the boxing missing right now. It's nothing like seeing, you know, the big guys, you know, go at it and really be the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. God. It's nothing like it. Okay. Now talking about that. How, as far as let's rewind a little bit. You said not real fighters. What is your definition of a real fighter, a true fighter?
You know, I believe like the lower levels you get a chance to weed through those guys. You know,
Right.
those guys who are not willing to make the sacrifices in their personal life in order to accomplish their professional goal. You know what I mean by that? It's more so I'm not even gonna say fake necessarily, but it's just they're not willing to make the commitment. You know what I mean? There definitely is a commitment mentally and physically that you have to make to be successful in this business.
There's no way around it.
There's no way around it.
No way
you got
around
a lot
it.
of guys who, even me at this level, there's a lot of guys who duck me. You know, that's just how it goes. I mean, not just from the camp I'm at, but you try to put, that resume is that film that they watch to study you.
Definitely.
And, I want my film, and every time, an opponent watches my film, I want them to have nightmares. That's my goal. I mean, even before I step in that cage and I'm talking to myself to the wall, people around me think I'm totally insane.
Yeah.
But myself is really saying, that next guy, I'm not necessarily worried about that next guy, but this guy will never want to fight me, and the next guy is going to have nightmares.
Man,
you know what I'm saying? So it goes that deep, man. So
okay, well, let's talk about, man, that's just something like, we got phone bros? You looking at me like you don't never. You looking at me like, what was it, Dave Chappelle have big? Yeah, we got that black dude. Nate was over there. Yeah. All right, so that's funny you see that Dave Chappelle, man. And see, this is a good thing about the interview. It shows, you see these guys, you see the enthusiasm and the fighting, and they're inflicting harm on each other. But these guys, they're genuinely good people. He has a laugh. He's a good guy, charismatic guy. Now let's talk about your past fights. I was able to watch 2 of them. We had Kawaguchi and we had Kirby. Correct?
Yes,
now it's hard for me, to say, you want your competitors to watch your fight, but you don't give them a lot of film because both fights, you don't like the second round, bro, because both of your fights ended in the first, man.
It's just about when they give you an opening, you take it. You got to have the skill set to take it. And, certain things where I get a chance to go against the top guys, and I spent 3 years just being quiet, just learning. People don't realize that.
Right.
Coming in here and get my ass whooped for the first 3 years, but it was a humbling experience, and it changed me as an individual. So, but now when I go fight other guys, they're not the guys I fight here.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And so this whole fight game is about stepping stones, right? You fight these guys and they don't realize, what you have to offer. Then when you show them what you have to offer, they're flabbergasted. And, the results are the results. So, so it's just, that one thing, you go in there, you dictate the pace, you dictate the tempo, and then, like I said, at the end of the day, you get your hand raised, and if you don't, you go back to the drawing boards and you go improve yourself, personally and professionally. I
feel it. Now let's talk about the name of your fighting style. As far as your mark, you call it, what is it? What do you call it again?
Big Pretty Style. The
Big Pretty Style. So this Big Pretty Style, don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. I saw them fights. He's first to make contact. I think I saw a jab, but I mostly saw haymakers. I think I saw a jab. I think he was trying to set it up, but he's going for the gusto. So for let's talk about the Kirby fight. Well, going to the Kawaguchi fight, man, you nearly knocked the dude out of the ring. Once again, respect to all fighters, but that's what you did, and the referee brought him up, and he was dazed, and it was over. You got at him, and it was, as we would say in the Bay Area, it's all gas and no break.
Yeah.
And then going to the Kirby fight, you displayed your striking, but at the same time, a beautiful takedown as far as that. And that boy, he looked a lot heavier than you.
Yeah, he was, but like I said, that was my second fight out. The first fight I actually lost, it was because, I make no excuses, so it is what it is at the end of the day. But I'm a lot different as a fighter now, That was a big learning curve. I came back to the drawing boards, actually start taking my training seriously, because potential is nothing if it's not fulfilled.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely.
So, it was time to really start fulfilling my potential. So I started that process, and that Kirby one was the next one up, and he, like I said, man, he ran into a monster.
Whew. Definitely. Wow, those are both entertaining fights. I talked to you earlier, and you told me that you signed with Bellator.
Yeah, so the Bellator is the next one up. So hopefully, you know, they're coming here in September. So, you know, hopefully, you know, it's just time to, you know, really bring in that home crowd. You know, I might fight in May, you know, on a Rise card. It's another organization, a small organization, you know, just to, you know, to fine-tune myself and to get better, you know. So going there, you know, I'm preparing now. And, you know, hopefully, you know, this next guy is, you know, willing and able to come in here and fight because I want to fight. I want to show people that, you know, it's just, I'm not a one-trick pony. I'm not. It's you know, I am trying to fully emerge myself in this mixed martial arts world and really, you know, become at one and at peace with my abilities and who I am as an individual, because that's what it's all about. You know what I mean? You know, so even when I, you know, have talks with certain people, they're like, "What the hell? This dude has changed."
I mean, no, it's definitely, we all have to grow. And the one thing, you know, getting in contact with you again, I saw you still that charismatic, you know, good, you know, just outgoing guy, but I did see the professional side. I could see the demeanor. You know, this is real business at the same time. You didn't truly lose. You know, you don't change. Like people, you know, you change. And I was like, yeah, I changed, but I'm growing.
Exactly.
You know, you always want to grow. You evolving. You know, we grown man, boy. We like, well, we 20. We ain't gonna say. Look it up. Look it up. You know, and now let's get into a one-trick pony. Now, there are fighters. You know, being an MMA fighter, you have some guys. You know, this is mixed martial arts. MMA. You have some guys who are great at wrestling, and that's all they do. You have some guys who are striking, and that's all they do. You have some guys who are, you know, jiu-jitsu practitioners, that's all they do. And you take them outside that element, and they don't know what to do. And that's why I brought up the top 10. In each organization, they have the top 10 fighters. So, you know, the top 10 in that. To me, it's this simple. And I want to get, when you get to those top 10 guys, it's just like the Western Conference in the NBA. It's, you know, you look at those top 8, you can say, okay, the Warriors are #1 right now, and you want to face OKC with the way Westbrook's going. You think that, oh, it's OKC an easier challenge than the Spurs, or that or Houston or Portland, or Memphis? Like, no, there's no easy way out. You know, playing on the Eastern Conference, they were like that. But
you don't want the. I mean. I think the more, you know, you start to adopt this life and really have this life become, you know, who you are, you don't want the easy way out.
You don't.
You know what I mean? So make it hard, you know, make it, you know, so that I can prove to myself that, you know, I am an overcomer. And any obstacle, you know, in front of me, I will run over.
Right.
You know, so it's just, you know, one of those things, you know, it'll come with time. Like I said in an interview before, there's steps to this, man. There's steps to everything in life.
Right.
You know, in this MMA world, there's steps, you know, because you got to face this guy to get to that guy, to get to that guy, to get to that guy, to get to the top 10, you know what I mean, and keep moving up. So you just got to keep proving. It's not necessarily, I'm not trying to prove anything to the organizations. I'm trying to prove shit to myself, first and foremost.
I respect that. And being at peace with one, you know, the pursuit of happiness, striving to live life, give back to people. I mean, here at AKA, you know, everybody's learning from each other. People are pushing each other, and you're getting the best out. It's building character, the intangibles, these experiences. It's family over here. I'm definitely assume that, and it's great. I mean, you guys are really going at it. You guys are striking. You guys are inflicting pain on each other through a martial art. And that's pretty, you know, it's intimate, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't like this dude, and what I love about MMA is that you guys could go out there and fight and shake hands at the end of the night. Exactly. It's like, hey, you got me, you know, or I got you, or it was a great fight, it was respect. You know, nobody's a loser tonight, or somebody is, you got to go back to the drawing board, but it's like, man, you know, and another thing I love about MMA, doesn't matter your background, you know, you're going to root for this guy if he's entertaining. No matter what, you don't, if he, you know, it's crazy expensive in America with all this drama going on. I love to see that when you have a guy like Chael Sonnen, America, Rampage goes out there, America, you know, can't go, America, you know, and then when they're Brazil, you know, whatever, you know, it's, you know, they root for their own, but at the same time, you're gonna have fans all over. Conor McGregor is Irish, you know, from Dublin, but at the same time, he goes to Massachusetts, and it's, you know, it's little Ireland, and you know, you puts people in a dilemma. They're like, okay, we're American Irish, but he's Irish, but you still got to respect him. I'm a fan, you know. At the end of the day, you have to respect a fighter who goes out there and puts it all on the line. But at the same time, people aren't thinking about the bigger picture. Now, let's talk about the bigger picture. This is a fighting sport. You got to take care of health. You have a family. You got to look out what's best for you. You got to fight through injuries. What are some of the downsides of being an MMA fighter as far as nutrition? You can't go out and just eat steaks and pizza all the time. You can't do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of sacrifices you have to make. Especially when it comes to the diet wise. That's the thing that because me coming from football, that was one of the downfalls because I really had to learn because in football, what do they teach you, especially being a lineman?
You gotta get big.
Eat, and eat some more. But MMA is more so. You really have to control and be more disciplined. So that's the next step. And so that's the step that I'm currently reaching. So it's really learning how to really be disciplined in every facet of life because people don't understand that MMA is more of a lifestyle sport. Football is more, you go out there, especially in the NFL, you go out there, you have 16 games a year. Hopefully you get 19 and, you get paid millions of dollars. Then, you get half the year, you just train. No, this is year round. Man.
It definitely is year round.
You gotta be ready at all times.
That's very true because, on the average fighters, depending on you fight, on a great year, you might fight 3 to 4, fights. Look at Donald Cerrone. He didn't get injured in his fights, and he was fighting monthly. Yeah. But that is not the norm for every fighter. No. It is not the norm, and that's why if this organization calls up and says, "Hey, we're paying you this X amount of dollars, to step up and go here," you can't be, "Oh well, what's the weight?" Well, I was, no, you got to be disciplined at all times, Especially if you're not in that top 10 and you're striving to get there. It really is a lifestyle. Of course, get out, live a little, go out, eat, a pizza, but it's definitely a discipline. Now, as far as what you are a part of the future of MMA, I definitely will say that. How do you see the business? What do you think the big changes are going to happen?
So you got guys like, me coming in. You got guys that, I bring more of a jubilant personality, a nice smile. I'm not really afraid to really say it how it is. You got guys who are really not afraid to grab a mic and say how they truly feel. And I think that's just the next step because, the UFC, Bellator, there's a few guys, you set them apart, but the most of them, they're just there to fight.
Right.
The thing is, it's more than that. This is a business, and the more marketable you are, the better fights you'll get. You know what I mean? And the more fans you get, so in turn, the more money you get.
And that's what I love about it. I love that on any given night, the champion, you'll fight anybody in the top 10. Yeah. They might bring another guy from an organization, and it's, bam, this guy, might be the hottest thing waiting over there. And if it makes business sense, you got to do it. You have, legends when they come back. You have Kimbo Slice fighting Ken Shamrock, But as far as, Ken Shamrock's a legend, and Kimbo Slice is not, came on the scene, fine. He's been doing it for a couple of years. He's known for his YouTube.
He's a YouTube legend.
He's a YouTube legend. There's nothing wrong with that. Each to his own. He made money. He's doing his things in his movie. But that's the thing about MMA is that especially comparing it to boxing, if this is what people want to see, they're able to make it happen. Exactly. There's no, as far as how long, I'm a big fan of Mayweather. I'm a fan of Pacquiao. But how long did it take for the fight to go?
Yeah, and after them, you got a few other boxers who, but I don't think there's never going to, this is those are two once in a generation fighters. So, after them, that's when I feel like MMA is going to take the lead.
I definitely agree with that. Not to mention this year they're putting out a lot of volume. They're putting out a lot of fights. They're putting out a lot of fights. So it's weekly. It's going down weekly. And, sometimes, guys will, change weights. Do you ever see yourself fighting in light heavyweight?
No.
Yeah.
I'm a heavyweight. I've been heavy my whole life, man. So I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but, that'll be something that, I don't see myself. I feel like my skill set is based heavyweight was.
Got you. Okay. All right, brother. So, how, if anybody wants to follow you on social media or Instagram or website, you're definitely here once again, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to learn about, mixed martial arts or just training, please come to the American Kickboxing Academy in San Jose here.
And I'm also an instructor here, so, you can come take, one of my classes and teach you the style.
No, definitely. Are you on Facebook?
Facebook, you can find me Buff Willis, Buff Willis. That's my fan page. Or you can go to Twitter and Instagram is Big Pretty MMA.
Big Pretty MMA. You heard it here live, folks. That's right. This is the DJQuam podcast. No, I like that old school announcer. It's going down. It's WrestleMania 13. It's that voice right there. So once again, I want to thank you, sir. Thank you, brother. Good friend of mine. I'm supporting you. And thank you for saving me money, because now in September I ain't got to go to Vegas because I'm gonna, what I'm saying, wherever they gonna hold it at, was gonna be at Oracle, the SAP Center. I'm going to be there.
I'm trying to take over San Jose, man, because people don't understand that San Jose, when it comes to mixed martial arts, this is a mecca. So you think about it, you got the Frank Show, you got a whole bunch of fighters who came out of San Jose, or the Bay Area in general. You got Brazil, you got Japan, you got San Jose. So, it's time for somebody to really become the face of San Jose and California itself, especially at heavyweight, because, heavyweight is the cash cow.
That is true. And if you need an interview, definitely highlight your boy DJQuam. But definitely, I feel it. Man, I'm a big fan. I'm willing to go all the way to Vegas just to watch a fight, man, because there's not a lot, out here, not a lot of events, and watching it on TV is one thing, but being there, I've been to one MMA event. It was in Vegas, and it was, you definitely getting your money's worth. I think I saw it was about 11 or 12 fights for $60, and man, it was wow. And I think all of them were decided. They were all finishes. Yeah. And that was when Misha Tate fought Kat Zingano.
Oh, yeah.
And man, and we're not done yet. How do you feel about women's MMA? Because this is the thing, I'm being a guy, I'm African, and, I'm not sexist or anything, but, I was watching, and, Kat Zingano and Misha Tate, they came out, and, they had these R&B shit. I think it was a Nicki Minaj song, and it was, they were all emotional. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then it got real. Man, I'm like, the female MMA fighters I'm seeing are really putting it down. They are not playing.
Oh, they're technical. Man, you think about it, you watch an MMA, you watch a girl MMA fight, man. These girls are like WNBA. So everybody says WNBA, I can't stand it. You know what I mean? It just, A, they ain't dunking. B, the focus is not really athleticism, but you see a lot of these girls and women MMA, they're athletes. And you got some of them who go for finishes. You got Ronda Rousey, man. She's a beast.
Man, I really have to. Ronda Rousey. I'm looking at her, and it's wow.
She belongs in the next generation. So she's a generation ahead of her.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with it. And nothing against the female fighters coming up, but man, she's an Olympian, judo class, all of that, and it's she's been doing this her whole life.
Exactly.
And now you have people who are been doing it for a couple of years, and unfortunately, she's really taking full advantage of it, and it's wow, and I'm definitely shout out to her watching her fight. Her fight was 50. You could put the whole fight on Instagram, the last one.
Crazy.
Wow. I'm just like, you can watch it on Instagram, 15 seconds flat. Wow, who does that? And it was just, I was watching it. I know her favorite move, I don't know if it's her favorite, her go-to move is the armbar. And I saw Kat run at her, get her with the knee. And then, I saw her hit the flip. I'm like, oh, that's a little oh, what? And I just saw, it was just, and I could even, man, if I ever get to talk to Rhonda, she's so beautiful. But bro, I saw her leg right there. And I'm just like, it's like taking candy from. I'm like, it's right there, and it just. I'm like, what? And she was just like, all right, bow, and it was over.
You could tell, man, when she fights. The beauty of this art is, people out there, they play chess, and a lot of, there's some fighters out there who play checkers. So if you playing chess with a dude who's playing checkers with me. What do you think the outcome's going to be?
All right, so once again, this has been the DJQuam podcast. Once again, I want to thank this man, professional MMA fighter, a member of American Kickboxing Academy here at San Jose, Justin Willis, ladies and gentlemen.
Y'all take care, man.
Let's go.
Come out to the fights.